Good morning and welcome to News Central Television. I'm Queen Celestine. The top stories this hour. Akpoti Uduaghan's vow to resume duty on Tuesday after court ruling. Nigerian Meteorological Agency predicts rainy and thundery weather conditions starting from Monday. Death toll from flash flooding in Kerr County, Texas rises to 82. More details shortly. We begin the news from the National Assembly, where Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan of Kogi Central has announced she will resume her duties in the Senate this Tuesday, following a federal high court ruling that nullified her 6-month suspension. The court declared the suspension unconstitutional and excessive, emphasizing that it denied her constituents proper representation. In a video message to her supporters, Akpoti Uduaghan expressed gratitude and confirmed her return to the Senate. Meanwhile, spokesman of the Senate, Senator Yemi Adaramodu, on Sunday said the Federal High Court in Abuja has not served the certified true copy of the judgment, which nullified the 6-month suspension of Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduaghan. He said the upper chamber has acknowledged the judgment of the court, but are yet to be served the CTC. The Senate Committee on Constitution Review over the weekend received various requests for the creation of additional states in the southeast geopolitical zone of Nigeria to guarantee equity and fairness. Stakeholders representing various interests of the constitutional review hearing in Enugu, such as Nna Nwodo from Enugu State and Sam Nwakire from Abia State, stated the viability of their proposals and urged why there has to be an additional state in the zone from their own ends. A total of 4 different states of Aba, Adada, Anim, and Anyoma states were suggested for creation. Senate Committee Chairman Onyekachi Nyebonyi led the committee on the review hearing in Enugu State.
Our zonal summit, which is one of the steps to be taken in amending our constitution, the 1999 constitution. And I believe that this time around, the Federal Republic of Nigeria will listen to the people of Southeast.
The potentials for other states are vast. We have already results. In fact, my in-laws in Anambra are horizontally drilling our oil in Uzowa as I speak to you. We have gas reserves in Ihadiagu. We have the potential for viability economically. We have extensive land for agriculture.
7 years ago, thank you very much, Ohaneze Ndigbo, sitting here in this city, recommended Aba as the 6th state for the Southeast zone. There's no doubt. Aba itself is a brand. In Aba, every house is a store. In Aba, every street is a market.
The Nigerian Meteorological Agency has predicted rainy and thundery weather conditions from Monday to Wednesday across the country. NIMET's weather outlook released on Sunday in Abuja anticipated patches of cloud on Monday and chances of morning thunderstorms over part of Taraba and Adamawa. There are also prospects of thunderstorms with rains over part of Zamfara, Adamawa, Kebbi, Taraba, and Kaduna State later in the day. NIMET envisaged sunny skies in the northern region on Tuesday, with patches of clouds in the morning. And the healthcare sector, the Association of Nigerian Private Medical Practitioners has called on President Bola Tinubu and Nigerians to urgently intervene in the nation's health sector. The association raised the alarm over an imminent crisis in the nation's health sector, following a 21-day ultimatum issued by the Nigerian Medical Association to the federal government. The ANPMP, in a press statement signed by its president, Dr. Kayode Adeshola, and Secretary General Dr. Gbadebo Adebiyi on Sunday, urged President Bola Tinubu to urgently intervene before the healthcare system collapses. The NMA had on July 2nd issued an ultimatum in protest against a circular from the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commissions on revised allowances for medical and dental officers in the Federal Public Service, which the doctor says violates prior agreements. The ANPMP, a constituent of the NMA, expressed full support for the ultimatum, warning that the current situation, if ignored, could plunge both public and private healthcare into a deeper crisis. Earlier, Dr. Phillips Ekpe joined us live to discuss the challenges in the health sector. We bring you some of his thoughts.
The welfare of all the doctors in Nigeria, and they also are responsible for dialoguing, discussing with government to make sure that doctors and the other medical personnel are well paid. And naturally, we sit down in what they call collective bargaining agreement, CBA, discuss and arrive at agreement on how it should be, especially with regards to the salary structures of the different health personnel in the healthcare sector, and also the relativity between medical doctors, the nurses, the pharmacists, the microbiologists, and other people that work in the healthcare system, And so, unfortunately, government quite often do not live up to expectation because apart from the delay in reviewing the packages, the remuneration packages as agreed, they also go ahead to bring out circular that falls short, falls short of what was discussed. So at the end of the day, they erode the relativity, at the same time, not meeting up, not even up to 10 or 5% of what probably was agreed. And, sometimes too, they are carrying out this action without even involving enemy. For instance, the circular that came out, the last circular that came out, enemy had no involvement. They just brought it out, and we realized that, instead of the normal increment that is expected, about 1.7% was what was given, instead of over 200% that is expected. So it's quite obnoxious, and it doesn't call well, especially in this time of brain drain, where majority of Nigerian doctors have left the country, and the country is deprived, very seriously deprived of doctors. The recommended ratio by WHO is one doctor to about 300 to 600 patients, but in Nigeria, we are almost one doctor to about 8,000 to 10,000 patients. And so the workload for doctors, the workload for healthcare workers is so much that they're having burnt out, doctors are collapsing, and the health indices is beginning to drop. And yet, you are now bringing up a circular that do not commensurate with the work that is being done. It should fall very, very far short from what is expected. So these are the problems that the government is causing. Actually, it's government that is causing this problem, not the doctors, not the association, it's basically government sitting down and not following the collective bargaining agreement that was signed. The last one that was signed was...
And away from the health sector, President Bola Tinubu is attending the 2025 BRICS Summit, a gathering of the world's major emerging economies. His presence marks a strategy move to strengthen Nigerians' voice in global economic and diplomatic conversations.
The summit hosted this year in Rio de Janeiro brings together leaders from Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now partner nations like Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu was received by top Brazilian officials as his visit follows growing international recognition of Nigeria's economic potential and its push for a stronger role in multilateral institutions.
We just had a very down-to-earth bilateral discussions led by Mr. President himself, and on the Brazilian side, President Lula da Silva led his own team. From the presentation of President, I had him mention part of the reforms embarked upon by Mr. President Bola Tinubu has been that of the creation of the Ministry of Livestock at the federal level, and he kept on emphasizing that Nigerian livestock need the kind of transformation the Brazilian sector has underwent over the years. And he repeated that 3 times. That underscores his own commitment, the political support he is giving to the transformation of the livestock sector.
Honestly, I'm so excited. And both President Lula and President Tinubu hit it on the head. The South-South collaboration and the BRICS collaboration will bring so much to Nigeria in terms of exchanges in air, transportation, shipping, trade, investment, and also mining and agriculture.
The summit, high-level discussions on global trade reforms, South-South cooperation, climate financing, and the proposed BRICS currency initiative are expected, as well as the formation of new bilateral relations and ties.
And then another engagement is also going to happen in August, and they expressed the desire to fast-track whatever relationship in terms of economic relationship, in terms of research and development, in areas of aviation, in areas of agriculture.
Part of this engagement gets me intrigued because something is coming up, that we add up on a good push, even in terms of agriculture, and then also in terms of solid minerals. They're quite huge on this thing too.
President Tinubu's visit to Brazil is expected to last 3 days, with Nigerians watching closely for any agreements or declarations that may reshape its foreign policy and economic direction. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Bettina Nwili.
President Bola Tinubu has issued marching order to the military to confront Boko Haram terrorists, bandits, separatists, and other criminal gangs threatening the peace and sovereignty of the nation. President Tinubu gave the charge at the grand finale of the 2025 Nigerian Army Day celebration held in Kaduna State. Represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, Tinubu reaffirmed his administration's unwavering commitment to the welfare of officers and soldiers of the armed forces. News Central's Chizoba Anyowe, who has been in Kaduna State monitoring the celebrations, now reports.
The tradition started in 1863 and here gathered for the 162nd Nigerian Army Day celebration are top Nigerian government officials, former head of state Yakubu Gowon, state governors, service chiefs, and other very senior Nigerian army officials, captains of industry, media executives, as well as wives and family members of the Nigerian army personnel. President Bola Tinubu, represented here by his vice, Kashim Shettima, said he will leave no stone unturned in improving the nation's security architecture.
To the officers and soldiers of the Nigerian army, I say this with clarity. The time to rise is now. You have my full authorization and the trust of the Nigerian people to confront and defeat those who seek to undermine our nation. You have my confidence, my support, and my prayers. And I know that you have the resolve to prevail.
He is optimistic that with the strides of the nation's army, more will be achieved if round pegs are put in round holes.
You cannot build a great army without building strong soldiers. Their welfare, morale, equipment, and sense of purpose are not afterthoughts. They are the bedrock of national security. I commend your commitment to placing the soldier in the center of reform, and I assure you that this administration stands firmly with you on that path.
Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oluyede, while commending the troops for their achievements so far, said the Nigerian Army will not relent in improving on its mandate.
My dear soldiers, the pillars that uphold the strength of the Nigerian Army, I thank you all and assure you that our collective sacrifice will never be in vain. I use this medium to assure you all that the Nigerian Army of today has been infused with modern and state-of-the-art equipment, platforms, and capabilities to confront as well as deter any threats to the country.
Here are some of the sights and sounds that climaxed the events at the grand finale. Awards were presented to deserving stakeholders as well as some personnel for meritorious performances. With the event done and dusted, Nigerians will expect to look forward to a more motivated army, providing greater territorial security for the nation. In Kaduna State for News Central, Chizoba Anyomi.
Meanwhile, 9 people have been killed in an attack on Malam Fatori in the Abadam local government area of Borno State. The attack also left 4 others injured on the border community, 272 kilometers from Maiduguri. In a press statement from the Borno State government, the governor, Babangana Zulu, condoled with the families of the victims of the attack, making cash donations to them. Addressing the people of the area, Governor Zulum, whose condolence message was delivered by the Commissioner for Local Government and Emirate Affairs, Honorable Sugumai Mela, assured that government will continue to take adequate measures to ensure their safety and the protection of the town. The Commissioner presented cash support of 500,000 naira to each of the bereaved families and 250,000 naira to each of the 4 individuals undergoing treatment. A tragic head-on collision occurred Sunday on the Zaria-Kanu Expressway, claiming 21 lives and injuring 3 others. According to the Federal Road Safety Corps, the crash happened around 8:20 a.m. at Kasuwa Dago, involving a heavy-duty truck and a commercial Toyota passenger bus. Preliminary investigations revealed the accident was caused by a route violation when the bus driver drove against traffic, resulting in the fatal collision. Of the 24 people involved, 21, comprising 19 men and 2 women, died, while 3 survived with injuries. The bodies have been taken to Nasarawa Hospital in Kano. Rescue teams swiftly cleared the scene, restoring traffic. The FRSC continues a full investigation and extends condolences to the victims' families. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has called on President Bola Tinubu to urgently order the publication of the long-delayed forensic audit report on the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. The report, covering year 2000 to 2019, was commissioned under former President Buhari and submitted in 2021, but remained unpublished amid allegations of obstruction by high-ranking officials and politicians. SERAP demands that Attorney General Lateef Fagbemi investigate and prosecute those responsible for blocking the report's release, which exposes over 6 trillion naira in misappropriated funds and 13,000 abandoned projects in the Niger Delta. The group warns that failure to act within 7 days will lead to legal action at the ECOWAS Court of Justice to compel compliance and restore public trust. And now we'll go on a short break. We'll give you more news when we return. Stay with us. And still on political matters, Borno State Governor Babangana Zulum has firmly denied reports claiming he plans to defect from the ruling All Progressive Congress to the African Democratic Congress, along with 5 other governors. In a statement released by his spokesperson, Dauda Aliya, Governor Zulum described the rumor as unfounded fabrications spread by what he called unscrupulous elements seeking relevance. He reaffirmed his commitment to the APC and urged the public to disregard what he called cheap politics. Governor Zulum emphasized that his administration remains focused on the critical task of rebuilding and developing Borno State, and he called on media outlets and the public to verify news through credible official source, not rumor and disinformation. Earlier, Barrister Fred Nzeoko, Nziako joined us in the news to discuss new political force in the bloc and the constitution reform moves of the National Assemblies. Here are some of his views.
Any country that professes to practice democracy without virile, robust opposition will be tied any democracy that tries to run on almost on a single lane, because the balanced opinion of the opposition is needed in every democratic environment. And the new coalition has come to present such balanced and robust opposition to the government in power. And of course, the beauty of it is that not only will they bring constructive ideas and criticisms, they will also be ready to take over power if the government in power fails to do what is expected by the people going forward. So it's a good development. When we say we practice democracy, we are talking about government of the people, whereby the decision of the people is paramount. And of course, nobody can say that he has more than one thumb. In a democratic environment during elections, it is one man, one vote. So every citizen is important, and that is why it is called government of the people. Any politician that arrogates to himself or to herself the unbridled power of taking decision for the people is only doing so out of either unnecessary arrogance or sheer misunderstanding of what democracy is all about. It is the people of Nigeria that will determine their fate in a representative, in a general election. And what will inform the decision of the people is their experience and their expectation. If their experience under the current government is not good, they will do the right thing by voting them out. If the expectation of the incoming, any new government is better, then they will bring in any government that they feel will advance their cause of their welfare and their life. So for politicians to say, we do this, we do that, I take it that they are only making political statements because it is the people of Nigeria, the electorate that matter. And of course, it is their decision that is very important. And that is why we continue to ask that the votes of the people must be respected and their votes must count and not be scuttled by the election management body. In any environment where such votes are scuttled, then we are not talking about democracy.
With the 2027 general elections in sight, political momentum is building within the All Progressives Congress. Leaders of the party in the South-South region have thrown their full weight behind President Bola Tinubu, endorsing him as the party's sole presidential candidate. At the APC South-South stakeholders meeting held in Benin City, the party also backed its 4 sitting governors in the region for re-election, calling for unity and continuity. News Central, Amenze Bazwaye reports from Edo State.
Victor Waifu Creative Hub in Benin City played host to key political figures from across the South-South, from serving and former governors to National Assembly members, ministers, party delegates, and stakeholders. This was a gathering of the APC's political heavyweights. Senate President Godswill Akpabio led the high-powered delegation, joined by the acting national chairman of the APC, as well as other national leaders of the party. Host and Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Ukbeolu, welcomed stakeholders and set the tone for what was described as a strategic political alignment meeting ahead of 2027.
South-South region has always spoken with one voice, especially during critical times like this. This meeting is a loud reminder that the time is right and we must start talking to ourselves.
Following deliberations, the meeting concluded with a strong communique affirming unwavering support for President Bola Tinubu's administration. Stakeholders unanimously endorsed him as the APC's sole presidential candidate for the 2027 general elections.
The South-South region is no longer an afterthought in national development. We hereby unanimously adopt Mr. President, His Excellency, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFRO, as our sole candidate for the 2027 election. Not be so matter.
In addition, the forum passed a vote of confidence on the 4 APC governors in the region, adopting them as the party's sole candidates for the next governorship elections.
We passed a vote of confidence on the 4 APC governors of the South region, that these 4 governors should be re-elected to their respective states.
With President Tinubu and 4 APC governors receiving the nod ahead of 2027, the party's South-South leadership says the stage is set to strengthen political structures and ensure stability in governance across the South-South region. In Edo State, for News Central, Ameze Bazwaye.
The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, says over 700 million naira has been generated within 3 weeks from the newly renovated Bola Tinubu International Conference Center, compared to the previous annual remittance of 50 million naira to the federal government. Wike made the disclosure during a special Thanksgiving service to mark the completion of FCT project, accusing a former government beneficiary from Adamawa of underpaying the federal government. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, reports.
It was a special Thanksgiving church service celebrating the commissioning of FCT projects across 16 days as part of activities to mark the 2nd anniversary of President Bola Tinubu's administration.
Like Mephibosheth in our story, God will turn your crippled situation to a song of joy. And this time, in our FCT, our crippled situation has been turned to a song of joy. President of Nigeria went to village, went to rural area to go and commission project.
Beyond hymns, prayers and songs, the tone shifted when the FCT minister mounted the podium, taking aim at members of the recently announced political coalition, whom he accused of betraying public trust.
How can Nigeria not be angry with you? Today, in 1999, you are in this party. In 2006, you are another party. In 2014, you moved to another party. In 2019, you came back to another party. That 2025, you are moving to another party. To rescue who? You want to rescue your stomach.
Defending his alignment with the current administration, Wike told the congregation that the church almost made a costly mistake in 2023 by supporting Peter Obi.
Some of you have sympathy for somebody you don't know. I'll say it. And that's where you nearly made us to make a mistake. You said Peter Obi would be president. President where?
He also revealed that over 700 million naira has already been generated from the renovated Bola Tinubu International Conference Center, 10 times what was annually earned.
And within 6-7 months, we have rehabilitated the International Conference Center. But you know the shocking thing? The man who was running it from Adamawa was paying to government 50 million naira a year. But in 3 weeks that we just renovated it, we have paid over 700 million.
What began as a service of gratitude soon turns into a forum of political commentary, further fueling national conversations about leadership, loyalty, and governance. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Now let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll give you more news. Stay with us. An armed gang attacked the headquarters of the Kenyan Human Rights Commission on Sunday as it hosted a press conference calling for an end to state violence. The press conference was being held ahead of Monday's Sabasaba Day, an annual commemorations of pre-democracy protests in the 1990s. The Women's Collective Kenya, a grassroots right movement, has helped organize the press conference to call for an immediate end to the arbitrary arrest, enforced disappearances, and extrajudiciary killings of their children for taking to the streets. But the meeting had yet to start when the gang of around 20 people attacked, some armed with sticks, forcing many to flee for safety. Members of the ECOWAS Parliament have called for the promotion of sovereign digital infrastructure across the sub-region, including the establishment of a sustainable funding mechanism. This formed part of the recommendations by regional lawmakers following a 5-day session held in Dakar, Senegal, to review the state of digital education across the sub-region, including the challenges affecting the adoption of artificial intelligence in education. Idong Joseph compiled this report.
It was the end of a 5-day session by members of the ECOWAS Parliament in Dakar, Senegal. The session concluded with discussions bordering on digital education, the adoption of artificial intelligence in education, and challenges mitigating the effective application of technology in education across the region.
We have deepened our collective understanding on the challenges of digital integration and its opportunities for socio-economic development of the region.
Several recommendations were agreed that will include addressing challenges identified by the lawmakers. Some of them include:
we call for the elaboration of a community act controlling AI in order to guarantee ethical, inclusive inclusion of digital technology which expresses our common values.
Key recommendations include promoting sovereign digital infrastructures, establishing a 10-year program for a regional digital strategy, and systematically integrating media and digital literacy. Promote the development of digital education plans at national level with clear targets and sustainable funding mechanisms.
Some lawmakers in attendance also gave their advice on directions needed for the sub-region to take.
Some countries have already allotted sizable budgets to their education sector, but others have not. We have to find a kind of recommendation that forces them to invest more into education.
If one country goes up and the other one stays down, it becomes a problem. If we can harmonize, we believe our relationship will grow stronger, our security will be stronger. Also, our interaction will be much better, our marketing will be okay, our agricultural product will be better, our transferring of funds will be very well.
The committee says that its key recommendations will be presented to the Parliament during its upcoming ordinary session, a move expected to galvanize effective action.
The United Nations is calling for an independent investigation into the death of a prominent Libyan activist who died shortly after being detained by security forces. Abdelmonen al-Marimi, a vocal critic of the Libyan government, was reportedly arrested by the Internal Security Agency in the city of Soman on June 30th and transferred to the Attorney General's office July 3rd. According to prosecutors, Marimi died after throwing himself down a stairwell. He succumbed to his injuries Friday night at a clinic in Tripoli. The UN support mission in Libya says the circumstances surrounding his death remain unclear and is urging authorities to launch a transparent and independent probe. Marina was known for leading protests against Prime Minister Abdulhamid and calling for political change. So far, Libyan officials have made no further public comment on his death. The death toll from flash flooding in Kerr County, Texas, has risen to 82, including over 21 children. This is according to Sheriff Larry Lether, who disclosed that identification is still pending for 18 adults and 4 children. Rescuers continue their search for missing people, including 11 campers and 1 counselor from Camp Mystique, a summer camp located by Guadalupe River. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has described the Texas flood as catastrophic.
We'll continue to be there, and we're working very close with representatives from Texas, and it's a horrible thing that took place. Absolutely horrible. So we say God bless all of the people that have gone through so much, and God bless the state of Texas. It's an incredible place. You look at that, what a situation that all is, and that was really the Biden setup. That was not our setup, but I wouldn't blame Biden for it either. I would just say this is a 100-year catastrophe, and it's just so horrible to watch. I wouldn't know that. I really wouldn't. I would think not. This was the thing that happened in seconds. Nobody expected it. Nobody saw it. Very talented people are there, and they didn't see it. It's, I guess they said, once in 100 years, they've never seen anything like this. So I wouldn't, I mean, people are trying to blame the school. They're trying to blame the camp. They're trying to blame, it's just a horrible thing. But no, I wouldn't say that.
Meanwhile, Pope Leo XIV has sent his condolences to families affected by severe floods in Texas. The disaster has resulted in at least 50 deaths and nearly 30 people missing, many of them children. The floods were caused by heavy rain on Friday, which made the Guadalupe River rise 8 meters in just 45 minutes. Nearly 300 millimeters of rain fell in 1 hour, about a third of the region's yearly rainfall. Rescuers have been searching for 27 girls and teenagers who went missing from a summer camp near the river. The Pope especially remembered the families who lost daughters in the tragedy. Israel's proposal to Syria and Lebanon for a peace deal has sparked mixed reactions in both countries, where the idea of normalizing ties has long been considered taboo. On Monday, Israeli former Foreign Minister Gideon Saar said his country had an interest in adding Syria and Lebanon to the circle of peace and normalization, while safeguarding Israel's essential and security interests. His statement comes amid major shifts in the region's power dynamics, including the fall of longtime Syrian ruler Bashar al-Assad in December and the weakening of Lebanese armed group Hezbollah after its latest war with Israel.
أهم شيء سلامة لبنان. هلا سلامة لبنان النهائية ما فيش إلا التطبيع، بنعمل تطبيع لأنه هيدا بين الناس ما بيمشي بين الحكومات.
I would rather die قبل ما حتى يصير هيدا الشيء، لأنه صراحة كثير شيء بيألم، لأنه بالنهاية هيدا أرضنا وهيدا شهدائنا اللي راحوا، ما شيء إنه عم بيمزح فيه، كيف بدنا ننسيها هيك الخبرية ما بتنسى لأنه هيدا أسى.
نحن بلبنان لو طبع العالم كله مع إسرائيل، نحن أصحابين الأرض بالجنوب وبالبقاع وبالضاحية، ما يحلم الإسرائيلي إنه نطبع معه. هيدا حلم عنده. نحن بدنا نضل نقاتله من هلا لتنتهي الدنيا.
أي سلام يؤدي إلى إعادة الحقوق السورية، الشعب السوري كله يأتوا معه. إحنا بدنا أرضنا، في إلنا أرض مغتصبة، وهذا الأمر لا بد عنه. الجولان عربي سوري، لن يكون إلا عربيا سوريا، وإنما تعرف هاي المفاوضات قد تأخذ سنين إذا حدثت. شايف شلون؟ أما فيما يتعلق بالجولان، يعني هل يعقل أنه يكون الجولان غير عربي سوري؟
دولتنا لساتها قايمة من حرب جديدة، فاستعدادا ما في الإمكانيات أنه نحن نخوض حرب. بس كمفاوضات بدها تكون تحفظ كرامة المواطن أو كشعب سوري.
The saving culture in Nigeria is both old and new, grounded in tradition and further enriched with innovation. As more Nigerians embrace financial planning, one thing is clear, and that's the fact that saving is more than just a habit or a discipline. It needs to be a way of life. However, certain factors have impeded the Nigerians' ability to save regularly. New Central Business correspondent Chamum Debang explores this to know if Nigerians are saving in these difficult times and what are their preferred methods.
The economic hardship and reduced purchasing power facing many Nigerians has pushed savings to the background, turning it from a key financial habit into a lesser priority. Nonetheless, it remains widely acknowledged as vital for ensuring basic survival and long-term stability.
It's very, very important because there are some certain things will happen to you. You find out that your little savings can save you out of that moment. I don't prefer a job. I prefer saving money to my own account.
For me, saving is really important, especially when you want to actually see the outcome of what you're working on. What I've done so far is just to save in my accounts, and then I know that, okay, there won't be any issues. It's just maybe a bank issue.
I could cultivate crops. You harvest finish, you shop all on the finish. One hungry go begin big time, you not go see where you go fall in and put your hand. And they do spend and save. If I withdraw any money, the app go save for me. But sometimes I can't find out, say, I they go withdraw the money to use. So I get away, I fit to fix the money. Any money I save now, I fit target and say 6 months time or 1 year I'll collect them so that I'm not going to fall victim of to go withdraw the one I don't save.
In Nigeria, the culture of saving has traditionally thrived on communal trust. Systems like Ajo among the Yoruba and Esusu within Igbo communities represent informal savings groups where members make regular contributions. These grassroots financial networks have long served as lifelines for funding small businesses, covering education expenses, organizing weddings, and managing unexpected medical costs. Ajo participant Lukman Abdul shared that the scheme has enabled him to meet several of his financial needs.
I think if a lot of people would take advantage of it, it is going to do well for them. So, for example, I use it to pay school fees. I use it to the kids' school fees. I use it to pay my house rent, and I also use it to change my car tires. Funny enough, before I started, I was not very disciplined with money, honestly. But so because you have obligation to meet, you have to keep to your word. You don't want to disappoint people that you're in the same group with, and also somehow it has really, really helped me be more disciplined with money.
The rise of digital savings platforms shows a major shift. It's not just about access to banking, but improving financial literacy and long-term planning. Despite this progress, challenges still remain.
I think that Nigeria struggles with savings, and it's not for a lack of will or lack of want. I just think it's difficult to talk about savings when you're in a country that your bank gives you a savings rate of 5 to 8%, and then you have an inflation rate of 20%. You also have low income, low wage growth. So there's more work that needs to be done on the structural side to actually encourage Nigerians to save. You save for emergencies and you invest for the future. So what I like to do is I like to use investments as a tool to beat inflation, right? So you save for emergencies, so you save for your rent, your school fees, your emergency fund. And you invest for tomorrow to beat inflation, because right now there's no way that the structure that we have will allow you to save to beat inflation. So you have to look at things like the equity markets or mutual funds that give rates higher than inflation to beat this inflation.
In the face of rising living costs and economic uncertainty, one thing has become clear. Financial resilience isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. In Nigeria, where the value of money seems to stretch thinner by the day, saving and smart investing are no longer optional, they're survival tools. In Lagos for News Central, I am Chamun Dabeng.
And now in sports, Nigeria kicked off their 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations campaign with a dominant 3-0 win over Tunisia. First half goals from Asisat Oshuala and Rinsola Babajide gave the Super Falcons an early advantage before Chiwendu Ihezu sealed the victory with a composed left-footed strike into the bottom corner in the second half. The 9-time WAFCON champions showed their quality and experience throughout the match, controlling possession and creating numerous chances. With the win, Nigeria topped Group B with 3 points, setting a strong tone for the rest of the tournament. The Falcons will look to build on this momentum as they aim And that's all this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Akpoti Uduaghan's vow to resume duty on Tuesday after court ruling. Nigerian Meteorological Agency predicts rainy and thundery weather conditions starting from Monday. We also told you that death toll from flash flooding in Kerr County, Texas has risen to 82. Remember, you may send your eyewitness reports to the WhatsApp number on your screen. Do follow us on our social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Queen Celestine.